All right, guys. So I know I've been making a ton of videos, right? More than I usually have. I got a feeling that pace is going to start picking up here soon. So I wanted to talk more about what happened yesterday at the Bitcoin conference, about Kennedy, about Trump, about the Democratic Party's positioning. I also want to talk mainly about the Trump pump. So I've heard, especially from liberal people, and again, I'm liberal. I'm liberal on almost all social issues, but I'm conservative when it comes to my love of capitalism, my love of freedom, not having the government control what you do, not having the government spend wastefully with our money and stealing wealth, additional taxation through inflation. I'm not for any of these things, right? I want to be able to eat red meat. I want to be able to do what I want to do without the government controlling my life. And Bitcoin is the same way. And before we get too deep, I want to look. Balaji had a post that was really great. It covered the talking points to Trump's speech yesterday that was roughly an hour long. I know some people don't like Trump. I know they have a hard time listening to him. I know the way he speaks sometimes can be very me, me, me. I get all that. And you all have to remember, too, that he is a politician who is running for president and trying to win a race. So he's going to talk about his stuff, right? He's going to talk about all of it. But two things, real quick. One, look at this. This is a beautiful chart. This is a beautiful chart. During the conversation yesterday, people were waiting for the words Bitcoin Reserve, right? They ended up getting it, but whatever. We'll go over that in a second. But look at this. It started falling off a cliff and then bounced like crazy into this. Actually, this is even yesterday. Let me go back. I'll go to the 4-hour. Is it yesterday? No, that's right. That's right. I was looking at it right. So what I want to show is we actually had a little bit of a bounce down here from where it went up to here, and then it went down to here, and now we're bouncing up, and we're above all key volumes. And what I want to show is this is the fib line. Look how perfectly we found support here. It's amazing, right? We perfectly found support. Hey, Silas, what's up, dude? And then at the same time, we found support on the 50, the 100. Look at this. The 50 moving average on the daily perfectly caught this, wicked all the way back up to the fib level, found this rocket launch to perfect levels of resistance, then dialed back. Again, if you guys are new to markets, here's what happens. You have buy the rumor, sell the news. Okay? This is how it works. So people buy going, oh, hey, I heard Trump's going to make it a Bitcoin reserve. And then they sell violently into that news normally. And it drops prices significantly. We didn't see that. We saw a drop, but it's finding support on the weekly time frame, and it's finding support above key volumes for this year. So I think we're ready for rocket launch. And why do I think that? What are the fundamental reasons why I believe we're headed to a rocket launch? Well, let's just look at what Trump had to say yesterday, okay? And then let's compare this to the Democratic Party's stance. Let's do that. So Balaji posted this. It's great. It's with time stamps, and it's got the full speech. You can find that within this post. I'll do this. I think I just posted this, but I'll go ahead and retweet it here again, just so that you have a quick link when we're talking about it. Now, here's what I want to cover. So at 1 minute and 36 seconds, Trump does shots out to major players in crypto, the Winklevosses, David Bailey, I don't even know who that is, Michael Saylor, Kathy Wood, Ron Paul, Rand Paul, Vivek, just a bunch of people, right? Like he's just giving, he's just talking to his friends, talking to his base, letting people know how many people support him and just, who he's been speaking with that are big in the industry. At 7 minutes, he said how Bitcoin rose from an idea on an anonymous message board to the 9th most valuable asset in the world, and how he thinks it's going to surpass gold in the not-too-distant future. At 10 minutes, he said America is a nation in decline. I agree with that. If you read The Fourth Turning, if you don't understand this concept. And we cannot let China dominate Bitcoin. We can't. They actually did. In 2017, when I was a part of this, over 75% of the hash rate was China. They did actually have control over Bitcoin. That's not the case anymore. It's like less than 30%. And most of Bitcoin is in free nations now. And I think it's because it speaks to what they represent. That's why China abandoned it. They love control. That's why the Democratic Party wants to abandon it. That's why they created Operation Choke Point 2.0. That's why they told Gary Gensler, kill this fucking shit. And that's why they went after everybody and pushed it offshore, prevented banks from being able to custody crypto. This has been the position of the Democratic Party for the last several years. And I know this because I voted for them thinking Donald Trump doesn't like Bitcoin. He keeps talking up the dollar. So I don't want Donald Trump to win. I want Biden to win because Biden seems ambivalent to it and like he's just going to let it happen. And I thought Gary Gensler was going to be a great representative of Bitcoin because he literally taught fucking classes on it, right? Like you could see how I had the assumption that Biden and Gary Gensler might be better for Bitcoin. But that was a complete fucking lie, okay? That was a complete fucking lie. And they did everything to attack it. Everything. And that's because that's what they represent. They want control. They want control of our money supply. They want a CBDC. Elizabeth Warren wants a central bank digital currency. And Kamala Harris sure as fuck does because she wants to control how much red meat you eat and make sure that everything is renewable energy. And just like Janet Yellen, who was saying that it would take $3 trillion a year to really push us over to where we're meeting our climate goals on switching over to renewables. They want to indebt us and they want to control us and how we do it. They want to control private business. They want to control what you eat. They want to control what you consume. They want to control the media and what people can say on it. And that's what we're really looking at, okay? That's the reality of the Democratic Party today. The one I fucking voted for last election. Now, there's other problems here too. But before we get there, let me stay on task. So, at 10 minutes, he said, America is a nation in decline and we cannot let China dominate Bitcoin. And he said, too, hey, we want China to do well. We just don't want them to be the leaders on this. America needs to be the leaders. He said the U.S. must lead in tech, science, manufacturing, AI space, power generation, Bitcoin, crypto, all these things he said in that speech yesterday. Again, couldn't be more drastic from the Democratic approach towards Bitcoin and the crypto sector. And I know you people that are liberal in nature and that have always voted Democrat, I get it. I get it. You want your party to be right. But if you support Bitcoin and crypto, you have to listen to what they say and what they do. And don't bring up articles from Trump 3.5 fucking years ago saying that he likes the dollar and doesn't like Bitcoin. That's fucking stupid. That's not what he's saying right now. Focus on what he's saying right now. And let's look at that real quick here. So it's 1620. It says how the Biden administration has waged war on crypto for the last 3.5 years by choking off bank support. Again, Operation Choke Point 2.0 literally meant to prevent Bitcoin and crypto from getting stronger. That's the Democratic role. At 22 minutes, the Biden and Harris administration is against Bitcoin because it stands for freedom, sovereignty, and independence from government coercion and control. I 100% fucking agree with that. At 25 minutes, the day Trump takes the oath of office, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren anti-crypto crusade will be done. Let's not forget Brad Sherman and a bunch of other fucking people too. He will fire Gary Gensler on day one to huge cheers from the crowd. Okay? 25 minutes. Let's go to 27:57. Trump commits to immediately shutting down Operation Choke Point 2.0 and creating a Bitcoin and crypto presidential advisory council in 100 days, fair rules written by people who want crypto to thrive. And he said, who here wants to be on it, with cheers in the audience? Okay, this is a guy who actually wants to listen to this community. He knows the voter share. Even if you don't like Trump, he knows that 1/3 to 1/2 of this country, this is something that will benefit him. And so he's going to be supportive of it. And I genuinely believe he does believe in capitalism and freer markets. And that's what I want to see. 2928. There will never be a central bank digital currency, and he will defend the right to self-custody, freedom of transaction, freedom of association, and free speech. 3025. Trump will support USD stablecoins and global savings in Bitcoin, and he recognized that the behavior of the current U.S. government is a threat to the dollar, not Bitcoin. He's 100% right on this, on a number of reasons. We want stablecoins in the future to be USD. It means our government still has control over the world reserve currency if the majority of transactions are being used in it. And it's like 90+% right now. It's actually went up since BRICS over the last year and a half had their massive campaign to try and fucking tell everybody that the dollar was dying. And instead, it's used more now than it ever was. And I will actually give Biden credit for some of that. I think he's done things that make America still look strong. I think going into Ukraine, I think we had to defend a democracy. Whether or not that war should come to an end or not is a different thing. I think it should. But we had to defend democracy. We had to show that ruthless communist dictatorships cannot just fucking take everything they want when they want it. So that's probably where I differ with some Republicans. They seem to be very anti-Ukraine. I'm not. I want to support that. And I know there's corruption and everything else. And I believe the war needs to fucking end. And I believe that Trump will work with Putin in order to be able to make that happen, because he's actually friends with him. Whether you like that or not, whether he's got a piss tape, I really don't give a shit. I want that war to end because the real threat is China. Anyway, but U.S. stablecoins are a good thing. It helps us. It helps our country stay strong, especially if we take our 200,000 Bitcoin right now, the largest supply by any government on earth, and then we add to it and we stop selling it, which we're going to see more of that in a second. But let's read here. 3530. Biden and Harris have presided over the biggest inflation in the history. I mean, Trump, you helped create some of that shit too by not sticking to your guns and taking, an anti-lockdown approach. He should have done that. Hindsight's 2020 though, so we'll fucking ignore it. But here's the deal. Going forward though, we're looking at a massive amount of money printing coming from the Democratic Party. But hey, you know what? I'll give it to you. Hey, Jingo, what's up? Hey, Psychar guy. Jax, everybody, what's up, dude? But I'll give it to you. I'll say this. I'll say both of them are going to print like a motherfucker. How does that work? So either way, it doesn't matter. It's just in different ways. One's going to be through tax savings, with capital gains and corporate taxes, which will lead to growth, which will help us prevent destruction in our economy. Okay. So I would rather have that version than the version where we start taxing corporations heavily when we're in moments of contraction, and then working to pull them down even more so that they have to lay off more people, so that we go into the classic Ray Dalio death spiral of the fourth turning. We don't want that, okay? We want expansion. We want expansion at a time where China is contracting in a way they can't even control. We want to expand. If you love America, if you love freedom, if you love democracy, if you love capitalism, you have to vote for Donald Trump right now, in my opinion, okay? All right, 3830. Inflation destroyed Weimar Germany. He's right. That's what led to Hitler, okay? It's the utter devastation with inflation that created the chaos that led to Germany trying to conquer all of its neighbors. Bitcoiners understood inflation better than anyone else. Inflation is stealth taxation, a national disgrace. It is. 4330. Make the U.S. the lowest cost energy producer in the world, given its natural resources, and turn it into a Bitcoin mining powerhouse. Americans will not need to move to China. We should be pushing all forms of energy, not just renewable right now. This is coming from someone who loves Tesla, who believes that we need to transition to renewables, all of these things. But you do that through abundance. You do that through using the energy sources you have, drive down costs, continue to innovate. China has solar panels for dirt cheap. Tesla is still going to be building out battery systems because they're in massive demand. They're going to be building out EVs because they're in massive demand, especially when they can drive you around. These things aren't going away. Free markets will already decide this. It's the better technology. As long as we don't hinder it, it's going to do well. Jingo, honestly, Cynthia Loomis came in with a hammer after everyone stopped watching. Yes, she did. She basically continued off of what Trump said. She said, we're going to have this reserve that starts with 200,000 Bitcoin, and we're going to work to push a bill that makes it to where we work up to 1 million Bitcoin in the next 5 years. We'll have to be aggressive to do that. And I think that's great. But Republicans need to win the House and Senate for that to happen. So, and it's going to be interesting to see if we can do that. And when I say that, again, I'm the guy who voted for Biden. All right, 4330. No, we did that one. And again, energy abundance is what makes countries rich, okay? I'm not sure why I got balloons. Energy abundance is what makes countries rich. If you look at the wealth of a nation, like per capita, and you look at its GDP creation, energy is like a direct correlation with that. The more energy you have, the more you're able to do. So we don't want to take this backwards ass fucking path of trying to make it to where people can't consume energy. There's carbon tax credits, all this bullshit. We need to innovate with technology and push forward. That's how we're going to make a better world. And if you believe in climate change, I actually do too. Here's what I don't believe, okay? I don't believe that it changes in 10 fucking years. And I don't believe this because Glacier National Park had a sign up for 25 fucking years saying that the glaciers were going to be gone by like 2 years ago. And they're still fucking there. So they had to take the sign down. So again, humans do have impact on these things. It would be insane to act like the dome we live in. Like take a dome, seal it, vacuum seal it, shut everything off, create a little ecosystem in it, and then add toxic chemicals to it and see what happens to the quality of the air and the life within it. We will change things over time. So I do believe that that's an important transition, but I believe it can take 30 to 50 years and it's going to be okay. And that I believe it can happen with free markets, and I think that that's actually the best way. Anyway, I digress. 4420. The U.S. government has violated the cardinal rule, never sell your Bitcoin. We will stop the U.S. government from selling its Bitcoin. This will serve as the core of the strategic national Bitcoin stockpile. That's our reserve, over 200,000 Bitcoin as of today, the largest stockpile of Bitcoin on Earth that the government will no longer sell and that will add to through confiscation. And if Cynthia Loomis gets her way, we'll start stockpiling every month that goes by. 46, he will commute the life sentence of Ross Ulbricht to time served. I think that's warranted. Whatever. 4626, he commits to becoming pro-innovation, pro-Bitcoin, pro-tech president that America deserves, and will make America and Bitcoin stronger, richer, and freer and greater than ever before. Now, here's my argument, okay? If you have a government that is literally going after Bitcoin in every possible way in crypto, to hinder its development and push it overseas, is that what is going to make America great? Is that what's going to help? Is reducing energy, and don't get me wrong, I actually think Biden, albeit he plays to his base about trying to push to renewables and all this other stuff, they haven't done shit. They said they were given tens of billions of dollars to create a bunch of charging stations. We don't have dick. All these things, all these 50 billion, 100 billion programs are doing very little to actually help the transition. Look at all the fucking money wasted on Ford, on GM, on all these legacy automakers to try and get them to transition to EVs. And now what are they doing? They're going back to fucking hybrids and gas engines. And they get just as good of a credit from that, so it's really profitable. So if anything, I would argue that the transition to real EVs has been slowed down by the Biden administration with our tax dollars and provided very little real value because they're manipulating the market. And this is why Elon Musk says that none of this shit matters, and he supports this man. Anyway, back to my point. I want an innovator. I want somebody who's going to be pro-innovation, pro-capitalism. This is what America needs right now. We don't need more regulation. We don't need Kamala Harris. And again, back to the topic of this, the Trump bump. Oh, that ain't it. Let me go back here. Here. Okay. The Trump bump. This is amazing. The fact that we haven't collapsed after that speech yesterday as a sell the news event, that's what should have happened. Okay? Whether it was good or not. People already got the message that we were going to hold a Bitcoin reserve. That was already out there. The news was out. But what we heard yesterday was great. It was pro this environment. And if you elect somebody in the next 4 months that's pro-Bitcoin, pro-crypto, will stop selling it, and will turn it into a strategic reserve, and that will create a council that is going to support this and allow banks to custody it, we're going to be hella fucking better in the years ahead than a democratically elected Kamala Harris administration that is anti-Bitcoin and didn't even show up to this fucking conference when invited. So, and you know what? Let's talk about Kamala. let's talk about Kamala real quick. Let's get really political so I can piss off as many people as I can. Okay? Let's just listen to Kamala speak. Let's listen to her talk for a second, right? Because my opinion's one thing, but what does she really have to say about stuff?
I am meeting with a lot of folks, and the work that we have begun is the work that is going to be ongoing. There is no question, and I said this from the very beginning, that our approach to this issue has to be with a commitment to a long-term investment, and it has to be a commitment to consistency. The United States has to be consistent. There were times when we were more engaged and we saw good results. Less engaged, and we can see where the work and the partnerships then deteriorate. So I am committed to ensuring that we engage in an active way on the root causes, on addressing the cause and effect, and also being partners in the Western Hemisphere, understanding that we have a responsibility, and if we ignore that responsibility, it will visit itself upon us in a very domestic way.
Which she totally fucking did. She totally did that. She was the border czar. I'm sorry, even Axios says it, and President Biden said it with his own fucking words. And then the people that ran the border said she never even came there. And the last two people that ran our border at the south and the Mexican side literally said that they never even spoke to her. Never even spoke to her. That's Kamala Harris, guys. That's it. I don't even know what all the fuck she said. But that's some of it. Also, people, I want to talk about a few things real quick here. People are talking about how Trump in a video said that there wouldn't have to be an election in 4 years. That's absolute bullshit. What he said, if you watch the whole fucking video, is that Trump is asking low propensity voters to go out and vote, and that this is the most important one to be a part of, and that in 4 years they'll do such a great job that it won't be as big of a deal if the guys who don't normally show up don't show up. That's the truth. Don't try and turn things into things that aren't real off of like little blurbs. And I want to show something else here. I want to show why Trump is going to fucking win and why we need to make sure he wins, okay? What's different this time in 2024 versus 2020? Well, A, he's got people like me, right? I voted for Biden last time. This time I'm voting for Trump for a multitude of reasons. But let's read this real quick. This is something I wrote up yesterday. 1/3 of voters, some say half, Trump says half, let's keep it at 1/3, say support Bitcoin and crypto. They own it, they're supportive of it, they think it's probably better. And real Donald Trump just leaned into it heavily, no turning back kind of stuff. What he committed to, if the people that are acting like, I'm going to skip ads here because I don't want to interrupt in case anybody is not paying for the service. So again, the commitment he made, the people that are very liberal in nature want to believe that he's just lying and that 3.5 years ago he was anti-Bitcoin, so he's anti-Bitcoin today. The things he said, you do not back down from, especially when 1/3 of voters believe in it. You just don't do that. So he will be doing these things, okay? It might be better or worse to a degree, but he will be doing it. So believe it, okay? And whether you like Trump or not, he did a lot of the things that he said he was going to do, whether you were pro them or anti them, okay? Unlike Biden, who said one thing and did another. And don't get me wrong, I like 50% of the stuff he did before he became Dementia Joe. All right. The most influential person on earth, Elon Musk, endorsed Trump, plus a ton of other influential liberals are doing the same. So I think that this class of votes is shifting towards Trump this time. Okay? The All In podcast. I swear to God, I even think Jason's going to vote Trump. I can't believe it. He seems really impressed by him. If you didn't see the Trump interview in there, that's one of the things that shifted me. Again, he's a pro-energy president at a time we need this. We need all forms of energy. We needed to drive down the base cost for goods and services. We do that with lower energy costs, okay? That gets rid of bad inflation. Good inflation is like our assets are going up. Bad inflation is the cost of goods and services are going up, okay? There's two different things here that we need to make sure that we're clear on. Having a pro-energy president is great. Thank you, balloons. All right. This election, we have X. So people say that conservatives say that the election was stolen last time. I actually don't believe that. But here's what we have this time that we didn't have then. And in a way, I do think it was stolen because social media completely shut off Trump. Completely shut him off, especially after January 6th. I ain't going to go into that shit. I think what happened there was disgraceful on both sides. On the sides that let the people in, on the people that were violent in their actions, on all of it. On all of it. Literally, the National Guard could have been there to be able to protect the Capitol. Pelosi didn't want it. Okay? So, on both sides, complete and utter incompetence. But here's what we have this time. The election, we have X. We have X to ensure that the truth can get out, untethered to whatever people's beliefs are. We have community notes to validate the information that's within it. And so we don't have to worry about being censored illegally when we're talking about topics. If I would have known some of the things that Harvard alum and some of the most important people on like genetics, genomics, obviously genealogy, whatever I'm looking for. If some of the most important people in the fields in regard to COVID were being censored by social media because they didn't fall in line with the Democratic view of how these things should be communicated, I probably wouldn't have gotten vaccinated at all. Okay? If I would have known some of the things I know now and how that was complete bullshit. Remember, all the anti-vaxxers should be dead. They should be dead. They should be having all these problems. And yet they did just fine. Okay? They did just fine. So we don't have that problem this time around. Also, Donald Trump got shot at. In the process, he inspired a lot of people. He literally got Elon to say, I endorse this man. Because while getting shot and almost having the back of his brain come out the other side on national television for the entire world to see, including children, he got up and said to fight. Most people won't do that. Okay? Most people, I don't even know if I would do that in the heat of the moment. I'd like to think I would, okay? But I don't know that that's a thing that I would do. And so that shows somebody that's willing to fight. And again, whether you like him, he acts for the camera. Dude, he ran a TV show, okay? This guy owned gold toilets. I'm not going to nominate him for Jesus Christ, okay? But I do think that his self-interest is pointing him in the right direction, and I think he believes a lot of these things. Things I believe. Also, we have illegal immigration. It's horrible. Conservatively, 7 to 8 million people crossing the border in the last 3.5 years coming into this country. I'm going to show you a video in a second that is really, it's bad. It's bad. Let me just pull it up. Let me do this. We're going to jump over to that real quick here, okay? Because I want to show you some of what's going on. Let me see here. So we'll ignore that video from Kamala. We'll ignore this for now because that's what I'm talking about. Again, this is a crowd. This is the overflow yesterday after. So in case you don't pay a lot of attention to politics, after the Bitcoin conference, Trump jumped on a plane and went to Minnesota to talk to constituents there. This is the overflow for the event. Kamala isn't going to be getting this. Watch this. This is not in the event. Let me see if I can find what I was looking for. I'm trying real hard here. See, the bookmarks suck. They don't do a good job. I'll find it in a second. But I was saying illegal immigration is horrific right now in sanctuary cities. I was looking at videos today, and you know what? Maybe I'll just go to here. I know I just posted this a second ago. You're going to deal with me while we flip through here and I talk. But there was a video with people in New York City talking about in their neighborhood about how the violence has gotten. Oh, and here, just like I said, look at this. This is the Democratic vision of the future. Yellen says $3 trillion needed annually for climate financing. $3 trillion. What about the fucking interest on our debt that's $1.14 trillion? Or our military budget that's close to $1 trillion? And then Social Security, Medicare. What about all these other things that we have to finance as a government? How is that going to work? How is that going to work if we spend $3 trillion towards this? This is the Democratic plan, okay? Let me see. Yeah, here. Look at this. Look at this. Watch this video.
Some here are frightened now just to go outside.
Now it feels like that whole section is just not available to the community
asking our local elected
anymore. So our parks are not available to
Can't go there.
anymore.
Search out and give us a list of all of the empty
You can't go
lots
to the
that there
parks.
are.
This section of New York City was dominated by Democratic votes last election. How do you think they're going to do this time? Think about all the cities that have rules where you could steal $1,000 or less. Think about all the cities that allow open air drug markets, like most of California, right? Or at least San Francisco, LA type stuff. Think about New York City that has 45,000 migrants, probably more, but that's how many are in the system, that have nothing. They've only had 2,000 job placements in the last 2 years. So they're just fucking sitting there committing crimes, trying to figure out, and some of them, they don't even want to. They're just doing whatever they can to survive because the system is broke as hell. Think about how Democrats, listen to the rest of this. Think about how Democrats respond in this environment. This was 97% of residents. 97% of residents voted for Biden-Harris.
Now it feels like that whole section is just not available to the community
Asking our local elected
anymore. So our parks are not available to
Can't go there.
anymore.
Search out and
Yeah, that's probably more real. I don't doubt that at all. I know Denver, Colorado, that I saw last was reaching like 70,000. And the last time I was in Denver, the homeless problem was huge. That was before those migrants came.
give us a list of all of the empty
can't go
lots
to the
that there
parks.
are.
Migrants from a 4,000-bed shelter nearby fill the sidewalks. They sit on park benches, on stoops and curbs, under the BQE overpass.
We're turning into a third world country, okay? We're turning into a third world country. That's the vision that I want to get out here and have you guys understand. This is crazy. This is the kind of stuff that we don't want to see in America in the future. And this is the kind of stuff, you have to remember, Kamala Harris is for giving food, shelter, citizenship to illegal immigrants. She's for all of these things. She believes that they have the right to go to school, that they have the right to free health care, all of this stuff. Okay? She believes in equity. She is a communist. She is a communist that literally, let me just talk to my point here. She says, I said VP Kamala is literally a communist if you stop to listen to what she's talking about. It's all about government control over what we can eat, what jobs we can perform. Literally, so they were saying, like, what about all these jobs where people are doing like oil, gas, and all this other stuff? How would you address that if you shift everybody and force them out of them? And she said, well, we would just educate them on how to do jobs in these other sectors. Governments controlling what sectors thrive and what people can do despite what they want to do is not how democracy should work. I'm sorry, it's just not. And again, social credit scores, I think this is what's coming. This is what the WEF has said. This is what the Democratic Party leans to all the time. And I've seen this episode of Black Mirror, okay? I've seen how this impacts people in China. They don't have a great bankruptcy system. All the people that created small businesses and larger businesses over the last 4 years that were locked in their fucking houses and had limited travel for 3 years before they opened up COVID restrictions were decimated. They were fucking destroyed. They went bankrupt. And you know what they can't do now? They can't fly. They can't get a loan. They can't take mass transit. And they weren't, these are the people that innovate. These are the people that take risk. And they've destroyed them because of a social credit system. Okay? I don't want that shit here. So, again, I'm kind of going off on a rant that's pro-Trump. And I won't lie. I'm very much pro-Trump right now. And I wasn't before. But I'm that way because of this shit. Shit like this.
You must have the courage to object when they use that term, radical Islamic terrorism, which ignores how Muslims have overwhelmingly
Or illegal
been the
alien.
greatest victims of terror. And we must also have the courage to reject that term, illegal alien.
Oh, we can't have illegal aliens? How about we have legal immigration and invite people in the right way, try and fit them to jobs, take people in that need asylum, like the existing fucking system we have, instead of having an open border that literally has people from all over the world coming in, and they can drop their IDs at the border like they do. You can see numerous videos, hundreds, thousands of IDs just left at the border, and then they just say, "I'm Bob Smith." And what the fuck are they supposed to do? If they're not in a database where they can say, "Oh, this person's super dangerous," then they don't even know who these fucking people are or what their history is. Okay? This is insane. This is insane. And I'm sorry, not every Islamic person is radical and a terrorist. That is true, okay? But the ideology leads to that, just like Christianity during the time, if you go back hundreds of years, we literally raped and pillaged in the name of God. We destroyed countries, murdered babies, and did all kinds of horrible shit. Okay? That's where Islam is right now. Okay? And it might get better in the future. They might rewrite their texts to make them more friendly and less trying to destroy the entire world and convert them all. Okay? But right now, there are people that want to destroy the West. They're very openly want to destroy the West. And so we can call them that. When they take down two of the biggest buildings in this fucking country in one of the greatest cities on earth, we can call them radical Islamic terrorists. When they say that they want to murder all Jews, standing outside of a hotel in New York City this last week, and that they would burn these fucking people alive if the police weren't there, and they write Hamas all over the place, assault police officers, and then get to walk fucking free and let go. I have a problem with that world. That's the world Kamala Harris wants to give you. Sorry, I'm going to get back to Bitcoin here in a second. I'm having some fun. And again, if you're liberal and don't like this, that's cool. I get it. Whatever. I'm just telling you what I believe, okay? I'm telling you what I believe. And I'm telling you that the Trump pump is coming. It doesn't have to happen in 2 minutes for it to be Trump, okay? But every minute that goes by where Kamala opens her big, stupid fucking mouth, more people are going to realize that Trump is going to be the president of the United States. And this is what I'm telling you, this is what's going to happen. Over the last 25-ish years, I have picked every fucking president. I have been fascinated with politics since I was a kid. There was a time where I fucking started to hate it. I picked every one. I picked Biden last time. He won. And I'm telling you, Trump is going to win by a landslide. And the more people realize that, the more this thing makes its launch to the 90,000s, to the next fib level. And I think that's coming in a month. 2 max. So get on this fucking train if you want to make money for Bitcoin. And be a free market capitalist if you want a better world. Vote for freedom. Vote for pro-energy policies. Vote for innovation. Vote for the people that actually want to support this stuff. Not the people that after Trump gets done speaking say, we're going to reach out with the crypto groups to see if we can reset. We're going to see if we can reset, guys. We realize that voters actually give a shit about this and that it might impact our ability to win. So now all of a sudden we give a fuck. Who do you trust more? Somebody who out of the gate tells you, this is what I support. These are all the things I'm doing. This is what I'm doing day one. I'm making a council. I'm doing all these things. I will support you. We'll make a strategic reserve. We'll stop selling. Do you trust that person, or do you trust the person that says, we're going to reset? And the person who says that we have an alliance with North fucking Korea. Is that the person? Is that the person you believe in? The person who's against red meat and all this stuff? I wish I could find all of the things. For some reason, I'm not finding all the bookmarks. This is one of the horrible things about X. Their bookmarking system blows donkey balls. But there are other videos on here where she's asked about all kinds of things, about red meat and whether or not we should be reducing red meat, changing the food pyramid to push red meat out of it and get people to eat more climate-friendly things, right? I don't want anybody controlling what the fuck I eat, okay? I want to eat red meat. I've got stomach issues. I've got something called gastroparesis. It's because I ate shitty processed foods for fucking ever. I don't want some impossible meat burger that's cooked in a fucking lab and made out of God knows what, okay? I want real meat. I've got enough fucking problems. So I just, again, I don't want to go off forever. I know I'm getting really political. I would like to be able to tell you that won't increase between now and the election, but it's going to. So if you don't like what you're hearing from me and you just can't handle it, then turn away, mute me, block me, do whatever the fuck you have to do, okay? But I will speak the truth on what I believe, and I will fight for a country that is better than the one we have today. And I will keep doing that, whether you like it or not, whether you disagree with me or not. And here's the thing, if I mute you, I'm sorry. It just means I can't handle your fucking arguments because they make no sense. Okay? So if it happens, I just don't want to listen to the bullshit. I want to be very clear. I'm going to run through Bitcoin here real quick, and then I'll start looking at comments. I'm sorry, I haven't been too much on here. Let's see, $3 trillion annually. Annually, Jingo. That's what she wants to spend annually. $3 trillion annually. That is more than, right now, that's more than the interest on our debt. It's more than our military budget. I'm sorry, interest on our debt plus military budget, plus Medicare, plus Social Security. Maybe we're getting close. That's what they want to do just for this. Now, don't get me wrong. That should pump my Bitcoin bags if they don't make it illegal, which is what I think they want to do. And imagine what happens if Operation Choke Point continues, if they continue to go after crypto and Bitcoin. The rest of the world will be enriched by Bitcoin as these assholes print our wealth away and destroy our dollar. If you want that kind of world, vote Kamala Harris. Vote for the idiot who doesn't... At least Biden has dementia. This woman is just retarded, okay? And if you're supporting her, it's not because of the things she believes in. And if it is, don't watch my channel. Don't watch an investment channel because she's not pro-investment in any way. All right, I wanted to talk to this, Vivek. He says, lawmaker just says Hong Kong should consider including Bitcoin in their strategic reserves. I think that we're going to start to see that from a lot of countries. I keep saying this. We saw in this conference, we saw a bunch of different pensions and companies and leaders of of different sectors talking about how Bitcoin is something that they're holding and that it's a reserve asset, or they personally hold it. We've got Senator Tim Scott here, who is pro-Bitcoin. Listen to this.
I remember when he said it. I thought it was unfortunate. I think I was shaking my head, and I wish he hadn't. But he has made a transition at this point to, I don't know if he's a full Bitcoin maximalist, but he is on board. And I guess we're going to hear that on Sunday.
So, Joe, you just said you were a prophet. That's good to know. Here's what I can tell you without any question. You were not alone. 20,000 more people showing up at a financial conference here in Nashville is a big deal. Bitcoin's future has to be in America. What we know about the Biden administration and the SEC is they've been anti-Bitcoin, anti-digital assets. Elections have consequences.
Trump used to be too.
If I have the good fortune of being the chairman of the next banking committee, what we're going to do is make sure that innovation happens in America. That means that the regulations cannot be oppressive, and we cannot have an SEC nominee that actually wants to run it back to China or run it.
I agree 100%. Let's get Maxine Waters and these other morons out of fucking Bitcoin and crypto. Let's do that, okay? Luke said, Donald Trump just announced that the U.S. will not only hold on to 215,000 Bitcoin they own, but they'll buy more. Look at this. Everybody praises El Salvador. Don't get me wrong. I actually love what Bukele's doing. But they have 5,700 Bitcoin. We have 215,000. Who is the Bitcoin country? We should embrace this. We should get to that million mark and have at least 5% of the supply. Honestly, if you look at real supply, it'd probably be like 8% at that point if we got to a million. It would not be easy, but this is what we should be doing. And do you think the Harris administration will be buying Bitcoin? Do you genuinely believe that if you're a liberal who believes that you need to vote down party lines? Or can you use fucking common sense in your brain to come to a different conclusion like I have? Let's listen to Donald Trump Jr.
Do you mind if I dive into a little bit of, it sounds like you learned a lot about the principles of Bitcoin thus far. So what are some of those principles that you think align with the values of the Republican Party and your father's platform?
Well, listen, I think not having that sort of overrule, right? The not having the unlimited supply that can be printed by someone who's willing to just spend other people's future to pay off someone for their vote in the near term. I mean, I think you see that with the Fed, right? Everyone, we'll just give it to them. It doesn't matter. We'll print more money. No one understands where it's going. The devaluation of a currency, as someone who sort of, I always, everything these days for me is political, but I have, a mother that escaped communist Czechoslovakia. I understand what these rules and what those systems and what those controls lead to, and I think this is an ultimate hedge against that, both financially. It's a hedge not just against the inflationary style of stupid spending, but frankly, the overreach of a tyrannical government, which we're actually seeing. I've actually witnessed.
I gotta say, I've never listened. I always got news from clips of Trump, right? Because I just couldn't stand how he talked most of the time, especially when he went me. And I never listened to really his kids either.
If I dive into a little bit of,
Donald Trump Jr. Donald Trump Jr. is fucking spot on here, and he seems to actually believe in this and know it. And I think him, Vivek, and others have pushed Trump to see the light. And Trump's seeing how well it's performing, and he's probably loving it. You smoking just because you're cooking. All right, thanks, Poo Poo Train. Coming from Poo Poo Train, I know I'm good. All right. But Dennis Porter, this is the man I told you. I said, hey, this guy is clued in. He knows what he's talking about. We will have Bitcoin be a reserve asset. And there was that million mark. People thought it was $1 million. I was like, no, I think that's Bitcoin. But he was spot on. But he says the Speaker of the House in North Carolina endorses Bitcoin's strategic reserve, bows to oppose CBDCs. You're going to see more and more and more of this in the future, okay? Let me see. History made. This says from Decentrist News. History was made at the Bitcoin conference in Nashville as the former President Donald Trump delivered a keynote speech. My latest piece in Forbes. So you got to see all the even things that are, I don't know, that are more traditional mainstream media are going to be seeing this, and all the people in the financial world know what's coming next. Listen, and if you didn't hear the speech yesterday, just listen to this part. Listen to Trump talk about firing Gary Gensler, and listen to the crowd's reaction. This is 100% support for this man.
Elizabeth Warren and her goons, and she's very nasty to you. She hates your people. She hates everything about you. Will keep their hands off Bitcoin. They're going to keep their hands off crypto. They're going to let it grow. We're going to let it grow. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman.
So here's the deal. I actually think this is the moment where Trump realizes just how influential and how cross-platform his initiative is to support Bitcoin. I think you could see it in his eyes there. And listen to what he says as he says it again, because I think he's blown away by how much people dislike Gary Gensler and how unifying this message is. Because you got to remember, there's people in this crowd that do not like Trump, okay? Just because they're Bitcoin supporters, they're liberal, whatever, they just don't. Some people don't like him. There's conservatives that don't like him, okay? I don't even know how much I like him. I'm starting to. But listen to this. Listen to this. Listen to his realization here.
I didn't know he was that unpopular.
You can see it in his eyes. He's like, shit, this is a talking point.
Well, I didn't know he was that unpopular. Let me say it again. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler. Whoa.
I think Trump genuinely is taken back by that moment, and I think that it will solidify even more his support towards this sector because it's his own self-interest. Now, hey, Kamala, maybe I'm wrong, okay? Maybe you want to reset relations with the crypto community. Well, Nick Carter says it really good here. So here's what you could do to start that process, okay? You could unequivocally end Choke Point 2.0, absolute precondition. Repeal SAB 121. Reel in the SEC and Gary Gensler. End the regime of regulatory opacity, where different companies have been trying since I got into this in 2017 to get a banking license for this stuff. Stop harassing Bitcoin miners for simply buying energy. Again, they were all like, ooh, look at all the stuff. They even doctored photos to make it look like miners were spewing off chemicals into the air when they were posting articles. This is the approach they've been taking, right? Indicate openness to a stablecoin, market structure bills. Don't even need to push these through. Just don't block it. Stop stonewalling new master accounts, like I was saying, for bank-related access. Stop forcing to DeFi to offshore. End soft prohibition on banks touching crypto and stable assets through the CFTC. Drop frivolous SEC cases against crypto firms. Do that, and then we can start to talk. Okay, but these are the actions they're taking to destroy this community. And again, this is impactful. If we have 4 more years of this, 4.5, because we're not even there yet, or worse, because they get larger amounts of control, do you think that's going to be better for the Bitcoin and crypto world? Do you? If you support this, you cannot vote Kamala Harris. That's my take. And if you give your vote to Kennedy, don't get me wrong, I like him. I'm very pro Kennedy, okay? I want him to take votes from Kamala, not from Trump. Trump got shot. He got shot. There's no way he's not getting a large amount of votes. So that my only worry right now is that those votes get taken away from him and given to Robert F. Kennedy because people like what he has to say a little bit more, okay? But he won't fucking win against this force like Kamala or Trump. All he can do is take votes away from Trump and possibly give Kamala a win. That's my worry. And I will say, the Trump presidency is not priced in. There's a narrative going around this week that Kamala is winning in polls, and it's bullshit. She is not doing that good in polls. It's one of those things where I don't know where these things come from. Here, let's pull up Real Clear Politics, okay? Let's see how this one. And this, it's all right. It's gotten worse over the years, but it does pretty good. Here's what the reality of voting in polls is, okay? People are saying that Kamala is winning like by large margins in some of these things I'm seeing posted from like CNN and other places. It's bullshit, okay? CNN has Trump winning by 3 points, okay? 3 points. Look at this. Only like the most liberal Morning Consult, Reuters Ipsos, and ABC News have Harris winning in polls, okay? But she is not. And even these are biased. And they're just not doing well. Trump will decimate these. And sites like Polymarket do a great job of showing how well Trump is actually doing in polls, with him winning by an almost 2/3 majority. Trump, Bitcoin stands for freedom, sovereignty, independence from government control. Isn't that the person you want? Those who say that Bitcoin is a threat to the dollar have the story exactly backwards. Bitcoin is not threatening the dollar. The danger to our financial future does not come from crypto. It comes from Washington, D.C. That is an epiphany from Trump, for sure. Nick Carter said this is probably the most bullish single political event in Bitcoin's history. I agree. Byzantine General says, I'm sorry to say this, but if you look at what just happened and your conclusion is, oh, price didn't move, it's a non-event, then you're actually dumber than a single cell amoeba. This is one of the most important moments in crypto history. I 100% agree with that. And the price will move. The fact that we didn't have a huge sell the news event is indication of that. Dennis Porter is very down the middle, okay? If anything, leaning towards, the liberal side and trying to pull in more of them, okay? So he's very down the middle. He said Bitcoin, being anti-Bitcoin is a losing position. Caitlin Long, again, this is somebody who's been trying to get a banking license for as long as I've been in this. Says 1 million strategic Bitcoin reserve for the U.S. Cynthia Loomis has already drafted the bill. I helped a bit with some of the Fed balance sheet mechanics. Caitlin Long is brilliant, by the way. Bring it on. The Fed would be forced to finally learn Bitcoin if this passes, instead of skewering and those of us who tried to help it for a decade. This is the breakout that's coming, okay? To be clear, I don't know. I think we stop here. And then I think maybe we have another leg up, and I think it goes well past 112. But we'll stop at the golden retracement zone, I think, because that's basically the measured move. Or if you count the measured move down here in a breakout zone pattern, you could get up to the 112,000 that he's talking about. But again, I'll be nibbling some off at close to 100,000. I'll probably be 10% out of my position, maybe 20. Do some dip buying in case we get a retracement up here. But my plan is to hold for at least another 9 months for the majority of it. All right, Cynthia Loomis. So in case you didn't hear this, real quickly, Cynthia Loomis did, after Trump spoke, announce that she was going to be trying to push a bill, and she's looking to get more co-sponsors to be able to have 1 million Bitcoin reserve for the United States. Okay, so she's doing her part. We're going to listen to her for a second because she is one of the biggest advocates for Bitcoin in this nation.
Here it is. This is the Bitcoin Reserve Bill. I'm reading from the text. In the Senate of the United States, to establish a Bitcoin strategic reserve, a network of secure storage vaults, purchase program, and other programs to ensure the transparent management of Bitcoin holdings of the federal government.
If Democrats vote this bill down, they will destroy their chances of winning in the presidency. Absolutely. I think they're already destroyed, but they will destroy them. Also, I want to listen to Robert F. Kennedy. Because here's the deal. I actually like him. I think he's very insightful. I think he's great. I don't think he can win the presidency, and that's the problem I have, right? But listen to what he has to say about Bitcoin. His voice is rough. This is a medical issue that he has. But just listen.
Americans today are being forced to make these gut-wrenching decisions because our money is broken. With a beleaguered American middle class, Bitcoin is the off-ramp from the inflation highway of doom. If the world were on a Bitcoin standard and our money held its value, we would all have the ability to live more abundant lives.
Fuck yeah.
Bitcoiners have it right. Fix the money, fix the world.
He's 100% right. People don't know this because they haven't done enough research, but this is it, man. And again, just to real quickly highlight from what Rand said here, free Ross on day one, right? This guy's been in prison a long time. Whether you agree with what he does, I don't care. Fire Gary Gensler, day one. Legislation written by crypto-friendly people within 100 days. Not selling Bitcoin reserves anymore. Holding a strategic reserve for Bitcoin that we add to. End Operation Choke Point. Make the U.S. the most crypto-friendly place in the world. And reduce electricity costs and increase availability by being in support of Bitcoin miners. And these miners love him. CleanSpark, Mara, all these miners, they want him to win because they know it's huge for their industry, okay? There's so much more. There's so much more. Here, oh, this is another thing I hate. Oh, I hate this shit. I hate it how it just jumps. Ugh. And again, Will Clemente, great analyst, young guy but awesome, says the United States will be the crypto capital of the world per Trump. Look at this. This is the stuff I'm talking about. This is real eco-friendly business, not controlled by government. This is in the Netherlands. This is showing a farm growing food and using Bitcoin to heat, to keep a balanced temperature in here instead of just using some kind of heaters. They can make Bitcoin while and being able to offset costs while the energy being consumed is giving them money. It's also helping them with their farm. This is cool. This is the future. This kind of stuff right here. Again, just like Bitcoin Munger, my buddy says, all the FUD is gone. Mt. Gox is over, right? Money distributed. We're not collapsing. We've got an incredibly bullish setup right now on the technicals if we look over here, right? We're not collapsing at all. We found a base on peak volumes in the red here. Again, 50, up to the fib, up above it, hitting key resistance area, back down to peak volumes, finding a base, getting above all of the volumes right here, and ready to launch heading into next week. That's the reality of where Bitcoin is right now. And there's no Mt. Gox to worry about. There's no sell the news to worry about because the news already happened. Okay? We know this bitch is gone. There are amazing things happening right here. Every person who does technicals that I know, every person says we're getting ready to skyrocket, okay? And I've been doing this since 2017, and I can tell you that exact same thing. Again, watch the conference, learn about Bitcoin. Here's the thing the note I want to leave on. We need to make the world a better future, not just for our pocketbooks, okay? And I don't care if I alienate people in here because of my opinion politically right now. It's that time, right? It's that time where politics get in the way. After I'm done, after this is over and Trump has won, and we're pushing pro-democracy, pro-capitalism, pro-AI, pro-innovation, pro-Bitcoin and crypto policies, I'll be a lot less political. And I'll call out shit on the left and right. Who knows? The next election, I might vote Democrat again because Republicans are getting stupid. But this is the time to vote Republican. This is the time to vote for Trump and Vance. Because the other side of this is frightening. Okay? Kamala is straight up fucking scary for this country. She was voted the most liberal senator in the Senate, and she chuckled with her intolerable laugh. Okay? She is not the right person for this. And again, if you just look at the things that and the cheers that we're seeing for J.D. Vance and that we're seeing for Donald Trump, the massive crowds. Listen to what J.D. Vance has to say about Kamala questioning his loyalty to America. Listen to this. He just wins this argument hands down.
I saw the other day Kamala Harris question my loyalty to this country. That's the word she used, loyalty. And it's an interesting word, simplify, loyalty, because there is no greater sign of disloyalty to this country than what Kamala Harris has done at our southern border. And I'd like to ask the Vice President, what has she done to question my loyalty to this country? I served in the United States Marine Corps. I went to Iraq for this country. I built a business for this country. And my running mate took a bullet for this country. So my question to Kamala Harris is, what the hell have you done to question our loyalty to the United States of America?
I'm sorry, man. That's just winning right there. Oh, hey, let's listen real quick here. Let's listen to Elizabeth Warren, one of my favorite senators right here. Let's listen to her.
The border, to have more resources in the states and cities that are supporting migrants, and I believe we need to create a pathway to citizenship. All of that is a part of what we need to do for comprehensive immigration reform. Kamala Harris will work with Congress and get that done. The border, to have more resources.
So we need to have more resources helping all these people that are coming over the border. We don't need to shut it down. Again, 10 million illegal immigrants, roughly. Trump likes to double that number, I think. I don't know. The Republicans like to say it's less than 7, but it's probably around here, right? And Kamala was the border czar, and she tells us that she doesn't like the term illegal alien. She doesn't like all these comments, and that she believes that all the illegal immigrants that come over the border deserve to be fed, educated, and have access to all of the benefits. How are we paying for any of this? So again, I digress. I'm just going down these rants, but I've got to show some of this because I just don't think people listen to this woman. Let's listen to Kamala Harris again here about her being so amazing. Let's just listen to this. This is Harris' response to migrant sent to VP.
There are reports that say that you have the lowest approval rating of any vice president.
Well, there are polls that also say I have great approval ratings.
Swing voters don't like Harris. How big a drag is Kamala Harris on the ticket?
She's a pretty big drag. I think she was arguably Biden's worst political decision.
They don't like her. There's lots of reasons they don't like her.
Ocasio-Cortez actually said right before that she was nominated for the presidency by their party. The day before, she said that nobody fucking likes her, that nobody supports her, and that there's no way she'll be on the ticket. That was the day before. You can watch the video.
Kamala Harris's approval rating is now at 28%, which is an historic low for any modern vice president.
We're hearing it from mainstream media.
These are liberals saying this.
One outlet after another, one leak after another. That Kamala Harris is the worst vice president ever, the worst politician ever.
We don't see the vice president. What people are saying to me, and I'm sure they're saying it to you, where's the vice president? Some White House officials are feeling that she came off looking unprepared for inevitable questions about when she might visit the southern border.
We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I mean, I don't understand the point that you're making.
The point that Lester Holt was making was obvious to anyone else who was watching this interview, which is...
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to hit that. Here, let me go back and see if I can get to the point. That was so
unprepared.
I don't understand the point that you're making.
The point that Lester Holt was making was obvious to anyone else who was watching this interview, which is that the issues at the border are inextricably linked with the portfolio that she's been given.
The border is secure. We have a secure border.
Bidenomics is working.
Prices have gone up. And families and individuals are dealing with the realities of that bread costs more, that gas costs more. And we have to understand what that means. That's about the cost of living going up.
He picked Kamala Harris to be his running mate. She was ranked and is ranked as the most liberal senator in the United States Senate. So he could have gone the other way, but he went to the left.
Joe Biden is running for re-election, and I will be his ticket mate. Full stop. Full stop. That's it.
This woman is probably one of the dumbest presidential candidates I've ever heard. Okay? Like, straight up, I am smarter than this woman, and I am sitting in my basement with a small YouTube account. And this is the person that the liberal left now is basically saying has a guaranteed win. Listen to this. Listen to this. Listen to her talking. You just got to listen to this woman. Remember that come election time, people will have heard her debating. They will have listened to her talk like crazy. And listen to the Trump JD Vance group and look at her and listen to what they're going against. Oh, this is the one from earlier. This is the one from earlier. We already heard it. So anyway, my whole point here is that Kamala is one of the worst possible candidates they could put up. Nobody wants her there. The Democrats don't want her there, okay? And yet she's being put up as an easy win against Trump. That is not what's going to happen, okay? That is not what's going to happen. She's pathetic, poo-poo train. Jesse's rants are always fire. Thanks, Dennis. Fox on Trox. Nice. Farming currency and wealth instead of humans sounds like a better idea. Yes, I agree, man. Yeah, again, you guys tell me your thoughts here, man. Say something in chat. But, like, I don't see how Kamala wins. And I think, and if I'm right, I think that what we're getting ready to see this next week is going to prove that, because we're going to start to see people realizing that Trump has this in the bag, and in the weeks, months, quarters ahead, that he has this in the bag, and we will see Bitcoin launch. You will see the Trump pump. That's the thing I'm trying to get back to here after this really long rant of a video this morning. And I am probably going to be coming on more often here in the future because, honestly, like, I didn't feel like there was much purpose in doing videos every day, and I was getting a little bored saying the same shit over and over again, and maybe that'll come again. But here's the thing, man. I believe strongly that we need America to head down the path and the vision that Trump is putting forth, and that if we don't do that and we turn towards less abundance, towards hating Tesla. Do you think Kamala Harris is going to love Tesla? Do you think she's going to love Elon Musk? Do you think she's going to love X? Do you think she's going to work to help support them? I don't think so. I don't think she's going to be supporting Bitcoin. Literally, the things they've been saying for 3.5 years and the things she's been doing are the opposite of everything I believe in right now. So, and again, she didn't even show up when Prime Minister Netanyahu from Israel, one of the biggest allies this fucking country's had we've supported them for decades upon decades. She didn't even show up to his fucking speech and instead was talking to a sorority. And she's trying to say, oh yeah, and she had her husband come on like a fucking cuck and talk on a news station, reading shit off about how much she supports Israel. She couldn't even do it her fucking self. Okay? Do you think this woman's really going to be a good ally to that country or other countries in the West? Or do you think she's going to be a sympathizer with Islamic terrorists and illegal aliens? I believe she'll be what she tells us. So, if you want to see the Trump pump, vote for the guy. That's my take. That's what I'm going to be talking about for the next 4 fucking months. And if you don't like it, oh well, I don't give a shit. Sorry, I'm not here for the views. I'm not here to grow my subscriber base. I don't need any of this shit. I'm just going to tell you what I believe, and I'm going to tell you the truth. And that's all you get from me. So anyway, I'm going to probably head out. Let me just see. I'm going to read chat here real quick. MB, Jesse, I've missed the beginning. I'll watch later. Don't take critics to Trump personal like yesterday, please. Hey, man, it's going to be one of those things where I'm going to be very pro-Trump, and I'm going to argue with people. And it might piss him off. And that's cool. The only fear I have is that if Trump behaves like yesterday and being kind of the guy that not always keeps his... Dude, he almost always keeps his promises. They're not what people want. Liberals hated him for keeping his promises to the Republican base. But the Republicans loved him because he kept almost all of them. So he did like almost everything he set out to do in his last 4 years. And this is coming from a guy who didn't like him, who hated him, who voted for Biden because I thought he was going to overthrow democracy. Okay? That's the view I had. So if I'm saying that, something is really fucking broken in our current system and the people that are in control right now. And it's very clear what side the Democrats are on of history and what side the Republicans are on right now. And the Democrats, you know what? They can figure that shit out and they can fix it for the next fucking election. Donald Trump fucking wins this one. Trump and Vance win this fucking one. Sorry, Democrats. You lost. Go back. Fucking reevaluate your shit. We're all going out in mass. I'm driving my Cyber. I was getting coal rolled. Now I'm fucking throwing on Trump stickers on my fucking car. And all of a sudden, the Republicans love me. But we're getting out in mass, man, and we're going to win the fucking election, and we're going to make sure everybody votes this time, and we're going to make it to where it just dwarfs, and it points out to the Democrats that they're fucking losers in this race, and that they need to dramatically reevaluate their stance on a lot of things. Then maybe I'll vote for them in 4 years. But that's the fucking way it's going down. That's the way I feel, and that won't be changing anytime soon, dude. Not at all. So if you don't like hearing that shit, take a break. That's what I tell everybody. But anyway, I think that's enough for now. Let's see. Sela says, I think she wants power and is not fully thought. I don't even know if she can think through her policy. She's a fucking idiot. That's my take. I just think she's dumber than a box of rocks. And yeah, that's it. Anyway, guys, thank you for listening to me with this rant on a Sunday. I appreciate everybody that's here. If you could hit the likes, it's greatly appreciated. If you can comment afterwards, that's great too. Otherwise, I'm going to keep saying what I'm saying, even if I lose followers and subscribers, even if people, leave the memberships, stop contributing. I don't give a shit. I'm going to say what I believe, and I'll always be that way. I'll always be that guy. You know why? Because I'm already rich and retired, okay? I'm already a multimillionaire. I might not be the richest fucking person in the world. I don't fucking care. The only reason I'm looking to get more money right now is to improve the quality of life of people around me so that I can benefit them and so that I can benefit the city I live in, the state I live in, and the country I live in. That's my aspiration right now. It's for my 10-year-old daughter. It's for my parents. It's for the people I love. It's not to get favor or grow my fucking account on YouTube. So it is what it is. This is what you're getting. I'm going to sign off now. I love you guys. I'll see you on Monday for the recap. Definitely Wednesday. Might even do a Friday. I don't know. I'm getting amped up, man. I might start talking more so that I can at least give you guys the highlights of each day that's going by, because I desperately want to see us head down the right path. And I love you all. So you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Dangerous criminal.
But I would not touch crypto in a million years.
Bitcoin is going to zero.
If I was the government, I'd close it down.
People are losing money in scams and huckster flim-flam artists. These people who own these things should not own your money in any of those. I do think you're an idiot. Okay?
It's over.
Go fuck yourself. I hope it is. Is that clear?